a Satanist named Eliphas Levi created an idol of the devil in the form of Baphomet, the great goat god. He was worshipped by the Knights Templar and by Gnostics and Satanists, and many say even in the Illuminati systems of today. This foul Luciferian goat god, Baphomet, is worshipped. Notice his androgynous, that is male and female, appearance. The torch of light on his head, the horns that come out of the goat's head. Notice the satanic pentagram, the two serpents coming out of the genital area, and of course the horned goat hooves. Now it's interesting that Aleister Crowley, known as one of the most vicious and most horrible Satanists of the 20th century, was in fact a man who called himself Baphomet, and in his book, The Book of the Law, published in 1904, Aleister Crowley, the great British Satanist, who once bragged that he was the wickedest man on the planet and self-styled his own being as the Antichrist, signed in that book his name. But it wasn't Aleister Crowley. He signed the name Baphomet, and this was the symbol of the seal of the Grand OTO, that is a secret satanic organization of which Aleister Crowley was the head. His seal was Baphomet. He was the Grand Master, but what is this strange creature? In fact, it appears to be a cockatrice. Some call it the basilisk. The cockatrice, a serpent that is even mentioned in the Bible as a creature of evil. Baphomet. In the Church of St. Mary in France today, we find this strange character. Is this not Baphomet? And what is he doing in a Christian cathedral? In the United States of America, in the town of New Haven, Connecticut, is one of the most prestigious universities in the world, Yale University. Visit that university, and what do you find in the building that houses the education and sociology departments? Yes, indeed. You find a carving of Baphomet. But this time, Baphomet, well, he's been cleaned up a little bit. He's wearing a three-piece suit, and he's lurking inside the archwork. But nevertheless, look carefully. Look at the goat's head. It's Baphomet at Yale University. Of course, it is at Yale University where they have the Order of Skull and Bones. And in fact, even the city of New Haven, Connecticut, was originally designed so that the skull and bones in a cemetery would be in the very center of the town, way back in the 18th century. Of course, the skull and bones, as is shown from this page, 158 from the book Richardson's Monitor of Freemasonry, an authoritative source, we find that in one of the Masonic rituals, the sacred word of Satan, Abaddon, is expressed, and we see a black and white drawing of the skull and bones. The horns of the devil seem to be, well, let's just say they get around. They're everywhere. And when we see these horns, of course, they can simply be horns of a bull or an oxen or another creature, or of something like this being. This is a recreation from the book of Secret Teachings of All Ages by Manly P. Hall, a 33rd degree Mason. And this is said to be Jupiter, or Pan, the horned goat god. Did you know that even the Ionic column, very common in architecture today, is actually based on a ram's head horn, the horns of a ram's head? This is a horned Celtic god that was once worshipped back in Germany before the time of Christ. In the British Isles, Cernunnos was a druid horned god of nature. Notice the incredible resemblance, of course, to the Hindu deities. But wait, we expect this from the ancient mystery religions. But notice this modern-day logo. Is this old man Satan? In 1990, Procter & Gamble filed lawsuits against anyone who dared to say that their corporate logo was a picture or image of the devil. Of course, there has been no evidence whatsoever that any of the officials of Procter & Gamble, one of the world's largest makers of soap and detergent and other household products, is affiliated with the Church of Satan. In fact, there is no evidence at all that any of the officials are Satanists or witches or have any connection with Satan. But this old corporate logo is very, very suspicious. Perhaps Procter & Gamble has no knowledge of the true meaning. But does that not look like horns and the old man in the moon? We can only wonder. It is always surprising when we find horned representations of the devil in churches. Here, Peter's Cathedral in the Vatican, in the city of Rome, we find, this statue of Moses by the famous artist Michelangelo. But wait, do you see the horns coming out the head of Moses? Is there anything in the Bible, in the Old Testament, that tells us that Moses had horns? Could we call this simply artistic license? Or is there another hidden meaning? We can also visit another church in the continent of Europe. In the Pyrenees Mountains of France, there sits a small Catholic chapel near the quaint remote town of Rennes-le-Château. And outside the church, over the entrance, is a message to those who would dare enter this Catholic stone chapel. It reads, Terribilis est locus iste, which translated into English means, this place is terrible. There's also a skull and bone stone carving on the exterior of the chapel at Rennes-le-Château in France. What about the place is terrible? And what about the bizarre rumors, strange stories claiming that inside, hidden in Rennes-le-Château chapel, is a secret passage, a literal entrance or opening to the fiery caverns of hell itself, located deep underground? What about these bizarre and macabre things? One thing we do know, as you enter the very door of this chapel at Rennes-le-Château, you find this statue of a horned black devil. He is carrying an ephah or basket, and above that are two small dragons, one of which has the head missing. Why would Catholic priest Bérenger Saunier install this diabolical statue far back in 1891? What so is a mystery. Could it be that the rumors that this chapel is a portal to hell are true? And why would the Catholic Church not do something about this hideous, horned black devil in this supposed Church of God? Supposing you visit the fabulous city of London, England, you visit Hyde Park, you've heard so much about this marvelous public place, but wait! Confronting you, you will find this statue of Pan, complete with cloven hooves, horn, and beard. And to make the matters worse, it's part of a sculpture collection called The Family of Man by artist Jacob Epstein. How is it that the people of London, thought to be mainly Christian believers, so easily tolerate this idol of Satan himself housed within their very midst? Of course, England itself seems to be populated by many of the Freemasonic order. England's Grand Lodge reveals that it too has a lot of devotion and reverence for these Pan-like winged beings in this case. Here are some of the arms or the insignia of England's Grand Lodge. Notice these half-beast, half-man or half-woman creatures. The goats. This book, published in England, Examine the Witches' God. Do the witches have a god? We know they worship the great goddess, but do they not worship Pan? And is Pan not shown here on the very cover of this book, the witch's god? Indeed he is. Some say that ivy and holly are his favorite vegetation, and thus on the buildings of the campuses in America of Harvard, Yale, and other elite establishment colleges, we find this same vegetation. Pan, father of Hermes in the ancient mystery religion, god of secrecy, is often pictured as the green man, a vegetation-covered deity. When we walk along the sidewalks of most American cities today, we do not expect to find devils in stone, but indeed we do. Visit Houston, Texas, Cleveland, Ohio, Detroit, Michigan, Los Angeles, California, or in this case, West 88th Street in New York City, and notice the devil that is in the keystone above the window of this building. What is the devil doing in this strange location? And do the people who reside in this building or work in this building not have an eerie feeling about it? In Hollywood, California, the building that houses the Motion Picture Producers of America organization, have this devil, again with horns, in stone on the facade outside. Does this indicate that the devil, in fact, is the god of the Motion Picture Producers of America? Well, perhaps so. Back to New York City again. Just think of these places. You're walking along, and you come face to face with the devil. You say, where? Well, just look up, because here are some of the devils that we have discovered in our travels to the great city of New York. Yes, the devils seem to be staring, leering, mocking, grinning, menacing the passers-by. Sometimes they are festooned with serpents and other strange creatures.